me today. I think it's awesome. It's so fun because I see your name, I see other people's names, I know people are out there doing the work, and I just love the idea of connecting. And then I thought, well, I'll save it. I bet you, it'll be in some capacity. It seems like it would be really interesting and useful and
Yeah,
fun.
I think it's great. I love
Yeah,
your idea of connecting and just getting to know each other. I love
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
thank you.
So, so I have a few questions just to, since I don't know, it's since I don't know what your history is, and I think it's really interesting to find out about how people um, first make contact with the work, first hear about it, and
Mm-hmm.
then what happens, and people's experiences can be so different. But and then really leading up, so that share with us that how you first ever encountered the work, and then I'm going to ask, it can lead to when you knew you wanted to keep doing it. When you had like a moment like, oh, okay, I get how this is good.
Okay, well, for me, that was the moment I found the work, was the moment I knew I wanted to keep doing it.
Nice, cool. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
it was instant recognition when I first read Loving What Is, and it was back in 2006. I think it was July 2006, and I was in Richmond, Virginia. I was living there, and uh, at the time working as a wedding photographer, and was just getting ready to move to British Columbia with my partner because his dad was having some health problems and we wanted to be there. And so I was giving up my wedding photography business at that point, and going through some major transition. And in the background was kind of a multiple year um, stress of relationship. That was really my key issue, and so that was like, yeah, that was the impetus for me. I've always been into spiritual practice, meditation, yoga, all these kind of self-development type of things, and very interested in Eastern philosophy, especially Indian. And so I've got a lot of background in that kind of area. But what was missing was in my relationship, I didn't know how to make it practical. I didn't know how to
Mm,
bring the broad theory and the beautiful understandings of life into how do you deal with this particular stressful situation. And for me, it was just a feeling of frustration, disempowerment, feeling intimidated by my partner, and just a basically a perfect storm. He's kind of a strong, bold personality, and I'm kind of more of a quiet and sensitive type personality, and I just felt overwhelmed by his presence in my life, and didn't know how to deal with it. So it just kind of snowballed and got more and more stressful for me. And so he actually pointed out Loving What Is in the bookstore. He said, "You might check out Byron Katie. She's the real deal." And so I looked it up and I bought a copy right then. And I remember reading it and just like pinching myself, going, "Oh yeah, this is the missing piece here. This is what I've been wanting. Basically how to live the ideals of spiritual life in the most mundane, practical, stuck places of my life." And so it was just a real bridge for me to go from theory to very clear practice in terms of how to deal with stressful situations. And so in the beginning of 2007, at that time, you didn't have to go to the school to join the round robin, which is now called the daily practice, which is where you get paired up automatically with a different person each
mm.
month to do the work through Byron Katie's website. And I did that, and I just kept on doing that for like years, every day, doing the work for like an hour or
Wow,
something.
wow, that's Awesome.
Yeah, because I needed it. It was just it took about a year before I really started having this big chunk fall away that wait, the problem with the relationship is not my partner. It's actually here and or at least equally here and the way that I interpret what he did. And I did a lot of interpreting. I interpreted that he was being mean when he was teasing, or I was interpreting him as kind of telling me what to do when he was really just sharing his opinion. Like I took everything very seriously until I did quite a bit of inquiry, and then it started getting clearer that I still have a choice no matter what he says. And so I've continued to do the work on him as well as on many other things since then, and it's just gotten easier and easier and easier to be in relationship with him, and it's been a cool turnaround.
That's
So
fantastic. How
yeah,
long was it before you actually wrote a worksheet? Did you do that when you first read Loving What Is? Because I know Katie describes how to write a whole worksheet.
yeah. No, when I first started, for I would say at least a couple of years, maybe 3 years, I didn't even really write a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. I think I wrote one once when I went to a little tiny event where she came to Seattle one time, and I just kind of checked in and
Oh,
wrote a worksheet. But I never used it. I never used the worksheet at all. I always just identified what was stressing me, what was the thought that was stressing me, and then questioned it, and that was it. And it wasn't after until I finally went to Turnaround House, and I that was the whole emphasis there was Judge Your Neighbor
oh,
worksheet. And then I went to the school, and then I went, like when I finally started getting into more of Byron Katie's programs, then I started really using that worksheet, and it opened up a whole another level of doing the work for me. So yeah,
say a little bit about what going to Turnaround House was like. So that was your first time you did a program where you just really
yeah.
immersed yourself in the work, was Turnaround House. That's like you're going for the whole thing, right?
It was, yeah. And, I seem to swing from one extreme to the other. I never had any money and nothing. And then when my mom died, I got some money, and I was like, I'm going to Turnaround House. That was like the first thing that I wanted to do, and so I did. And it wasn't like out of desperation that I went. I just went because I really wanted to do 30 days or 28 days of the work in an environment like that. I really didn't know what it was all about the program. So I went with an open mind and just worksheet after worksheet after worksheet after worksheet. I just did so much work and major transformations there. I did a lot of work on my partner. I finally came out of there clear about the relationship in terms of that it was something I was choosing, and it was not just I wasn't just a victim here getting swept along by fate. That I was actually deciding to participate, be, be an active participant in it. And in fact, that was we had been basically in the closet for about I don't know 8 or 10 years or something. And after Turnaround House, I came out to my family, came out on Facebook, I came out to everyone, and I just made it really clear that there was nothing left to hide and no secrets. I was just fully on board with my relationship.
Wow, yeah, that's huge. And it says something to I think it's interesting people's experience. I had similar with immersing yourself. I mean, there's no formula for how it goes, but something about um, starting and going, just like any retreat, just like a meditation retreat, where you go and it's all you're doing for uh, however long in a row. In the case of the Turnaround House, a month. But I found the same going to the school. I mean, I laugh and make jokes about how even though reading Loving What Is was so powerful for me, and I was just like, oh my, same thing. Wow. This is how you do it. This is how you bring these principles into action. I will make jokes that I really didn't do the work until I went
Mm,
to the school.
mm,
It
yeah,
really, it just
yeah,
it just wasn't. really the work. But it was like the little intro, and I had no idea really what I was getting into when I went to the school. And it took days into the school before I had some sort of, I mean, I just came out of there thinking my life was absolutely changed after the school.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's like I agree. There's something very powerful about going on a retreat, basically going to the school, or in my case, turnaround house, or on any kind of immersion weekend or week, when you're learning this work, because you go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you start understanding what's going on, not just having a little taste of it and then leaving. So it just builds on itself. So yeah, I agree.
yeah,
But I
wonderful.
also I also found, I got a ton out of doing the work every day just with a partner, like it's amazing how much is these simple four questions and turnarounds. It's all there is to it. And whether I do it in an immersion situation or whether I just do it on my own or with another person, it's quite a powerful little technique.
That's what I mean. That is so wonderful to know that it's not necessary. It's not required.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
somebody wasn't able to go to a retreat, I mean, it's just not required doing it. I did the same thing where I had the same partner for 2 years, and we met only once a week, but we would meet for 2 hours on the phone, and then
Wow.
we would share. We kind of had our practice going. I don't think I knew about round robin. I'm not positive if they had it. They might have been starting it or something, but I just knew that I wouldn't do it unless I had a partner.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah.
something, or I'd say I'm doing it on my own as I drive my car, or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
No, there's definitely a value to accountability when you're working with another person. And just you're going to show up and keep the appointment for them at least.
yeah,
And
right.
then you end up getting it for yourself as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to share that was, really a profound change? I think it's always so inspiring for people to hear, like in this topic, and you've shared about your relationship. It's really so beautiful. Um, Anything else that has been a big shift for you that you've noticed through doing the work?
Well, many, many things. I think some of the outstanding ones that come to mind were, after my mom died, just I managed to really go through that whole grieving process in about 2 months, which was remarkable for me because it was an accident. She died in a plane crash, and it was like a big shock for the whole family. But on the next day, I was doing the work on my mom. Like, I want my mommy. Is that true? And that's exactly the concept. I remember it, that was where it started,
Wow.
and it just went. It progressed. Um, I remember always trying to figure out what happened. Kept replaying how it could have happened, and then I remember questioning. I need to figure it out. Is that true? And it was just like boom, another layer of it was just gone. And so through just little bit by little bit over those 2 months, I got through that, and there's just a feeling of real peace with that was just her time, and it was not a mistake. It was just the way it was supposed to be. So that was kind of a cool thing that the work helped me with.
Yeah.
I use it in lots of little trivial everyday things. Whenever someone sets me off, no matter what it is, just the smallest little thing, I'm looking for it.
That's
I get a
awesome.
lot get
Yeah.
a lot of ability to handle all kinds of different situations out of that. So I'm not thinking specifically of one right now, but I know that that's kind of my way, is to just keep looking for whatever it is that's triggering me, and to do the work on that.
Mm.
I'm trying to think what else. When I first started doing the work as a facilitator, I did a lot of work on making money and on marketing and all that kind of thing. I had a real prejudice against money, first of all, on its at all, completely about. I didn't like the idea of being money, of having money, because money was bad, and I had a lot of prejudice against it. So I did a lot of work on that, and marketing, the same thing, sleazy, slimy. That was manipulation. All that was. Those were my beliefs about marketing, and it all really turned around for me into being marketing is about sharing. It's just about sharing something that you're enthusiastic about, and the work something that I genuinely am enthusiastic about. And so marketing myself is, strangely enough, not a stressful thing for me anymore.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, I had
Yeah.
this same experience and just could really move that in a different way. It's so wonderful. I just love it. Isn't that funny that it's so, uh, you realize the conditioning and and it doesn't mean there isn't something that maybe hasn't happened. I love doing the work on somebody that I considered to be really pushy, just trying to get my money,
Hmm.
early on with that, and realizing what I thought about that and where the gaps were, where that came out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's always a balance. Like, I can tell internally if I am being pushy or if I am being manipulative, and that feels off to me, and I don't like that. I don't feel peaceful. So it's really not about the external, whether you're quote unquote promoting yourself or not. It's about the internal, about what are my motives in doing that? Am I doing this to share, or am I doing this to manipulate? And when I'm clearer myself, then there's really nothing stopping me from sharing what I find to be true or useful.
So exciting, really. Well, last question.
Okay.
So before we're done, what you've been up on stage with Katie. You've done the work with Katie herself.
I
Yes?
have, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What was that like? Is there anything that you found, I don't know, just anything that you'd like to share about that experience?
Yeah, that was very sweet. I did the work with Katie back in 2009 at the New Year's Mental Cleanse, and did the work on I'm not living up to my full potential. And you can find it on YouTube. It's all over the place.
Oh, that's great. You're you're broadcast.
That's
Okay,
right.
good.
Yeah. And
That's awesome.
it was cool. It was one of those things I just needed to do. And I remember asking Katie. I went up. I was actually on staff. I had traded to get there because I had no money. That's why for the first 3 years I didn't go to any schools or any events. I just did the work on my own because I had zero money. And then I did this trade with Katie where I would do the photography for the event and for the mental cleanse, and then get to be there. And so at some point I went up and asked her, could I do a session with her? And she said, yeah, be the first one in the chair. And so I remember actually thinking, okay, well, I will do that. And so I was in the room early because I was on staff. I actually got up in the chair before they opened the doors.
Oh, that's great.
Which, if you know me, is
Awesome.
very
Wow.
unlike myself. I'm not a pushy person. It's like not. It's so atypical, but somehow I just felt like I needed to do this, and so I did it. And yeah, doing the work with Katie, it was. I think what she doesn't follow like the strict four questions and turnarounds always. She kind of moves wherever she moves with it. Although there was mainly the four questions and turnarounds. But I remember commenting afterwards, like, did we actually do the work?
Yeah.
But the spirit of the work is questioning what I believed, and that's what we were doing full on. We were just questioning that there was even a problem at all, or that I had no options, and it really opened it up for me. And I think what made it work was no matter where she went, I just went with her and said, well, let's just look. I don't know where we're going here. And I let myself just kind of free flow with her, and some really cool things came out of it.
Mm.
I was working on not being able to pay my rent and not having, not making enough money, and a lot of stressful stuff for me. And she said, I remember one of the things came out was I could just work at Home Depot. It was not a big deal. And I literally, after that session, quit working for myself. I was working as a nature photographer for about 3 years and not making any money really. And I just quit. I said, okay, I quit working for myself, and I got another job working for another company, doing some website work for them, some writing and little photography, and it was like, wow, I can actually earn money without having to, spend 3 years creating a business.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
Wow.
yeah, it was a great experience. I still, it was a turning point for me in that, and then it continued afterwards. I worked for them for a while, and then it didn't work out with them after a while, and I was like, oh well, now I can quit working for you, and it was just next thing, next thing, next thing, and now I'm working for myself again, and I still feel like I'm working at Home Depot.
And Home Depot is fabulous, right?
It's
No,
fabulous, exactly.
no, it is. It's amazing. No, thank you so much. I love hearing your story and getting to know you just a little bit. It was
Yeah,
fun. So
you're
awesome.
very welcome.
Yeah,
Very welcome.
thank you for doing what you do, facilitating people.
My pleasure.
It's
Yeah,
a
I
great
love it.
service. It's a great
Yeah,
service in the world. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. I certainly
Yeah.
enjoy it. I get as much out of it as I hope people get out of it as well, because it's wonderful to witness all the other sides of the stories that all of us tell ourselves.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah. What a privilege.
Totally.
All right. Well, thank you, Todd. Wonderful to be with you. And
Okay.
we'll see what happens from here.
Okay. Well, nice to meet you, and I
Nice
look
to meet
forward
you.
to having you on the 2 hour taste of the work. I changed it. It used to
Yeah.
be, yeah. So that's going to be January 10th, and I'm totally
Fantastic.
looking forward to that.